hey there, you awesome bipeds, quadrupeds, and even the occasional dinosaurs. It is I, Little Wolf, and welcome to my den. Go ahead and come on in, but please wipe your paws before entering, and go ahead and take a seat by the fire. The cauldron is bubbling, so you can have your choice of tea, coffee, or hot chocolate. Alright, so I'm sorry I missed Monday's video, and I did have some cartoons picked out, but my sleep pattern's been kind of weird lately, and other things are coming up. But I figured, let's try something a little bit different today. Yesterday I sat down and read the book, The Stepsister by R.L. Stine from his Fear Street books. And usually when I start reading these books, I just inhale them like they're water almost, because I just love his storytelling and all the different characters and all the different things that happen in it. And so I can sit down and read one of these books in a couple hours or so it doesn't take me long. And he's one of my favorite authors ever, and he helped me through a lot of time as a teenager. And speaking of help, I'm sorry, but if you ever feel like you need help and you feel like you can't talk to your friends or your family, you can always hit me up in my Little Wolf's Den or in my Swordsmen group. Or if I'm not there, you can talk to mostly any of my friends in there, and we'll be willing to sit down and give you a ear to bend so you can vent if you need to. Or we can also try and point you out to different places that might be able to help. But if you can't do that, and you're in the United States, you can always hit up the U.S. Suicide Hotline number, which is 1-800-273-8255. Once again, that's 1-800-273-8255. And if you're into texting more, you can hit them up at 741-741. And if you feel like you really need to talk to somebody really fast and you're in the United States, you can always hit up 988. And they'll hit you up with the suicide hotline, and they'll get you all the help that you can need, hopefully, as much as they can. And for everybody else out there in the world, you can always hit up the website blog.opencounseling.com/suicide-hotlines/. And they'll give you a list of all the other countries out there and the numbers and websites that you'll be able to hit up if you need it. So if you need help, please hit up these numbers. Okay, so, alright. R.L. Stine, like I said, he's one of my favorite authors out there. I've been reading him for quite a bit now. I'm trying to remember when I first really got into him. A friend of mine's family had a whole bunch of the Fear Street books, and I remember picking up and looking at the cover of the Lifeguard one. And I remember seeing the skeleton on it and just being very intrigued by it. And so I really wanted to read a lot of what he had. But I also kind of knew at that time that the Fear Street books were way too advanced for me at that point. So I did then find the Goosebumps books and a lot of his other ones like that. He has the Goosebumps, Rotten School, just so many, Ghosts of Fear Street, just so many different books where you can just sit down and read and get lost in that world. And there are so many of them that are intertwined later on, and in a very interesting way with quite a few of them. But with the Stepsister, let's go ahead and read the back of it here. It says, Fear Street, where your worst nightmare lives. Emily wants to like her new stepsister, but it hasn't been easy. As soon as Jessie moves in, she takes over Emily's room, steals Emily's clothes, and lies to everybody. Then Emily picks up Jessie's diary and learns a horrifying secret. Is Jessie really capable of murder? Emily tries to tell her parents, but no one believes her. So it's up to Emily to expose the real Jessie, if she can stay alive. Dun dun dun. Oh my gosh, I've always loved a lot of the little aspects with a lot of R.L. Stine's work. And when you do read a lot of them, you'll always notice that the adults really hardly ever play a real big role in what's happening because he likes to leave it up to either the children in the Goosebumps series to try and figure out what's going on, or the teenagers that are in the Fear Streets, or all the other ones where it's always going to be the children or the teenagers that figure out what's going on and they try and solve it. And there's usually always like a weird, almost M. Night Shyamalan type twist to most of the stories. And when you've read enough of them, you can kind of get to a certain point in the book and be like, oh, I think I know what's going on here. And the other thing that I do love about at least this one that that I read now with the Stepsister is when you get to each chapter, each one has like a little title that goes along with it. Like when you get to chapter 9, it's called the Late Night Visitor. And so each time, at least in the Fear Street ones that I can remember, you would get like a little title thing of what's going to take place in there. So you kind of know what's going to happen. And just so much happens in this book that it was just so easy to not put down. I mean, you have a point in it where John Wick would have gotten very upset because something happens to a puppy, and it's almost the same type of thing that happened in the Wick movies, but just on a very scaled down level. And yeah, there was no rampage or anything like that, but a puppy does get hurt, which is very sad, and that made me cry. But you do find out all the pieces that fit together, because Jessie and her brother are new to the family. They're moving in. The mother of Nancy and Emily, which are the two sisters you're really following, their father had passed away somehow, so the mother gets remarried, and then the stepbrother and stepsister move in, and slowly things start happening. A sweater gets stolen, they think. Something happens to a report on a computer. You know something happens to the dog. Different things happen at school. Jessie makes friends with kind of an outcast within the school. And so Emily is kind of suspicious about that because this person's an outcast, kind of. And so it's all, everybody's kind of pointing all of their fingers at each other and trying to figure out what's going on. And it's just so much fun. And I'm sorry if I'm kind of gushing about this, but I can't help it. I really do enjoy so much of R.L. Stine's work. And he is definitely up there with one of my favorite authors. And up there, too, would be authors like Bruce Coville, or you have James Dashner, who wrote the Maze Runner series, and I've been reading those. And then just so many of them out there. I've been picking up so many different books from all of the different thrift stores and being able to pick out ones that I haven't read in so long. I even have like 5 of the Five Nights at Freddy's books, so I'm going to be reading those. And I know this is kind of a long-winded thing about this, but I just can't help it. But yeah, I just really did enjoy this book a lot when I sat down to read it. And just so many times I find that happening with so many of R.L. Stine's books. I can sit down and start reading it and get sucked into the little world that he's decided to write for you. And you get to learn bits and pieces out of the different characters, especially your main characters. And then later on you learn about the person who's really behind what's going on. And you see how those little parts connect too. Because you have Emily getting upset about her clothes getting missing, and then at one point she thinks that Jessie is trying to get with her boyfriend because she sees them talking in the hall together and they seem really friendly together. So she gets jealous about that. And it's just so weird, and I really kind of wish they would have done more with like the Fear Street shows that they did. I know they did come out with a few of them. I still have to sit down and watch them. I getting into the whole like mythology of the building of Fear Street, where you have Simon Fear starting it. I still need to get into those books. I've read so many of the Fear Street books because I can also remember you would get those big 3 packs where it'd have 3 of the Fear Street books all put into one thing, and I would pick up like 4 of those books at a time from like Barnes and Noble or Borders and Books, places like that. And I would find them and pick them up, and I would have that book done within 2 days because I just inhale them. And I just really think that a lot of people would enjoy the Fear Street books. And to me, R.L. Stine really is, in my mind anyways, the kind of Stephen King for the teenagers and the children. And it's just so much fun to be able to go back again and reread some of the books that I enjoyed from it, or find the books that I haven't read yet. And there are so many of them in the Fear Street books and the Goosebumps books. I've been finding myself reading those too, and there are just so many good ones. Right now, I'm in the middle of reading a book called Alien Secrets, where there's an alien that's trying to travel back to his home world, and he has this little statue he's supposed to bring, and if he brings that, that shows that they're going to be able to reproduce again somehow. And this alien is befriended by a little young girl, and they're trying to figure out who took the statue and things like that. And it's just, I'm like over 120 pages into it, I think, and it's just becoming very fun. And like the character I think in it is named after someone from the Macbeth, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I know that the nickname for the character is Puck. So yeah, it's a very fun story also, and there are just so many more that I'm going to be jumping into because I have so many of these now. And I also have so many that I have on my Google account that I have to get through and read. And if you guys do enjoy this, I really hope you do. I'm going to go ahead and read a bunch of these and maybe put up a quick 10-minute little synopsis about it, whether I enjoyed it or not. And with the exception of the animal getting hurt in this one, I really did enjoy this book a lot, and I really think a lot of you would too. And I think you just giving R.L. Stine like another sit down and quick read through, I think would be a good way to take another step back and take a couple hours out of your week and just enjoy a quick little book. That's really about all I have to say. I mean, I hope it's gonna help you guys find maybe some different authors you might like to read, or different books. Maybe just pick something up that you probably wouldn't give a chance at reading. That's one of the ways that I found Bruce Coville at one point. My father had tried to get me to stop reading R.L. Stine, and this was back when they had the whole thing of R.L. Stine's evil and all of that stuff, the whole like religious movement scare, and anything that had like evil in it or fear, and that was just gonna be evil. And so my dad tried to make me read the Bruce Coville series, My Teacher is an Alien. And since he tried to make me read it, I didn't want to absorb it, and I didn't enjoy it. But later on down the road, I found another book by Bruce Coville called Goblins in the Castle. And the way this story was written is a total flip over from My Teacher is an Alien. Because in the Goblin series, you have a kid in there who's trying to help all of these people. You have a giant that has a big teddy bear that he hits people on the head with, and things like that. And I found Bruce Coville that way. And then I found all of his other books because he wrote books on aliens, he wrote books on monsters, and things like that. And so I slowly started to really get into Bruce Coville. But then when I tried to pick up the My Teacher is an Alien series again, to me that is his driest series of all the ones he does, and I know he probably has a lot of fun doing all the little bits and pieces in there. But when you read that versus something like Goblins in the Castle or any of his other books, the Lost Unicorn, I think it was, or no, the Unicorn Chronicles. You read those, or Monster Book of Monsters, and these stories have so much heart and love and energy put into them that it's just so much fun. And then you read something like My Teacher is an Alien, and it's just really dry. All of the stuff is kind of there, but it's not hitting the same way. I don't know. But I'll probably at some point again try and go back and read My Teacher is an Alien and all of those ones. But I know I'm not going to enjoy him as much, but I'll give him another shot. But yes, please try and pick up a book that you might not have read in a long time that you know you enjoyed, or pick up someone you haven't tried yet and spend a half hour trying to read that book, and who knows, you might enjoy it. And it'll give you a good chance to just sit down, relax, and just take a breath. And that's what I want you to do. Watch some cartoons, listen to some radio plays, read some books, just have some fun and escape out of this world that is just driving everybody crazy slowly but surely. Just take a breath. And remember, when you do go out, if you can, please remember to wear a mask, because it will help you from either getting sick or spreading the sickness once you get it. And if you haven't done it yet, please go out and get your jabs, because that will help you be more healthy and keep those around you healthier. And it will keep your older ones and loved ones healthier as much as we can during this time, because we really need to help each other out. And if we can, when we're out and about, please keep trying to social distance, because we're going to keep each other safer that way. And if you guys haven't noticed yet, there is kind of a new thing going on. Instead of a cheetah, Tia is now a lioness. And so now we have to hashtag protect the lioness. And we need that lioness around. That lioness is amazing. And I love all you bipeds, quadrupeds, and even the occasional dinosaurs so much. And so I hope you pick up a book you haven't read in a long time, or short stories, or something. Listen to an audiobook. Just take a breath and relax. And remember, when you're out and about, please be safe and be civil. And who knows, let's see what other books we have coming down the pipeline. I love all you bipeds, quadrupeds, and even the occasional dinosaurs so much. So until next time, Wolf out.